Hello and welcome to another edition, our eighth day in a row. Y'all, we're keeping this going. This is actually the longest I think I've ever live streamed consistently and consecutively. I don't think I've ever done 12 days in a row. So this is kind of like setting a record. You guys are hanging with me, and we are jumping into making our creative this creative year, sorry about that, I had to switch cameras. This creative year, our best creative year ever. That's our goal today. That's our goal for the whole 12 days of this. We used to do it where it was the Christmas kind of best, the 12 days of Christmas. And what I found out as I did a little research was the 12 days of Christmas actually goes from the day after Christmas up until Epiphany, Three Kings Day, which is January 6th. And I said, you know what? That makes perfect sense. Why not? Instead of trying to cram all this before Christmas, when all of us are literally trying to get everything together for our holiday, instead, let's do this in that kind of weird period between Christmas and the beginning of the year, where there's so much talk about getting our New Year's resolutions together and our plans and what are you going to do this year and how are you going to change and all that kind of stuff, right? So my goal was for you this 12 days was to say and to figure out what would be the best year ever if it happened in 2025 and to map it out one day at a time for what would be 12 months of your best creative year ever. If you're new to God and Gigs, if you're watching on replay or whenever, please say hi. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the host and founder of God and Gigs. Anytime I do lives, I always try to make sure that the audio is working. So I sit back a little bit, make sure everything is working before we jump into the presentation. So this is your time to say hi. This is your time to make sure that you kind of know what's going on here. If you're new to this program, you're like joining in the first year, the first part of the year. You're like, okay, what is this all about? I've been lurking maybe in the Facebook group. I've been lurking on LinkedIn. I've seen this logo pop up all over the place because I am doing all the things, it seems, all the time. I'm always all over the place. And it's not because my social media is like my favorite thing to do. It's definitely not. It's a goal to be, like Paul says, to be all things to all people that I may win some. So what I try to do is I try to create these spaces all in these areas where you might be as a faith focused, high character, deeply convicted creative who is probably transitioning from doing whatever you're doing, 9 to 5 work, being a full-time musician, full-time creative, whatever it is, but you're building a platform, you're building a creative lifestyle, an integrated lifestyle. You're moving from just putting all the little pieces and you're trying to say, no, 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 no. I don't want to be like in a million different places. I want to kind of do this, but I want to do this in an integrated way. And you're transitioning from the piecemeal to the integrated. And that's what we help you do in God and Gigs. We do gigs, but we try to do gigs with purpose. We do gigs with intentionality. We do gigs with the goal of creating a lifestyle where we get to choose what we do whenever we want to do it and do it in a way that honors our deepest values. So, Manuel is joining us. Thank you so much from the Worshiping Musician School, brother. I saw you over there applying for your Skip grants. Congratulations on getting that stuff in. Those of you who know, we have been very, very, very excited about our new partnership with Skip. They give out grants to entrepreneurs. They help entrepreneurs find grants. And Manuel and I were working on that a couple of days ago. And yeah, there's more grants to be had. If you want to check out godandgigs.com/skip, it has been one of our most incredibly immediately successful partnerships. I had no idea, although I should have known right away that, like, hey, they're giving away money, they're helping entrepreneurs. Our friend LaShonda Brown from Bootstrap Biz Advice is now checking them out. She's advising or starting to recommend them. Like, let's get ourselves in a position where we can benefit from the resources that are available to us. So welcome, Manuel. Great to see you. Yeah, good to see that you're done with that. All right. So when you're saying hello, that means that the mic is working. That means everything else is working. Let me see if I got my presentation up here. I don't know if I have it yet. Is that the right one? don't even know that's the right one. I'm nervous. Hold up. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to start over. I should need day 8 for today. See, I always do this. There it is. Okay. Forgive me because I get caught up. I do a million things and then I forget to literally post or to upload what we are working on right now. So you're watching this in real time. That is what I should have had ready a long time ago. All right. So everybody that's jumping in live, if you're watching on replay, let me remind you, please like, share, and subscribe. Why am I saying that? Not because I'm trying to build up my numbers. It's because it is literally how we help people to find this information. And then hopefully what we want them to do is to join our community, sign up for our newsletter, become a connected part of God and Gigs so that we can help them outside of these platforms. And it's a weird thing to say. I feel like they're going to ban me as soon as I say this. But the whole purpose of me showing up on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn is to be able to find you and interact with you without Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I'm thankful for these platforms, but honestly, like they are always like holding the sword of Damocles over your head. And it's like at any point, if they cut you off, you can't talk to the people in the communities that we're building. So I really hope you sign up for our newsletter and that you can get our emails so that we don't have to only reach you here. And of course, my goal would be best for you to be a part of our membership so you can be in our app. And that's where we can talk and never have social media get in the way. So that's kind of like a word to please subscribe, follow, like, and then join the newsletter so we can talk whenever you want. Once again, we're in 2025. We're so excited to have a happy new year. Even as I say this, though, I want to make sure that you guys know we are in prayer for those of you who are been watching, or especially if you're in New Orleans affected. We know that tragedy does not take a holiday. Hatred does not take a holiday. So I want to pause and just say a quick prayer of peace and healing, and for God to lift a standard and protect our nation as those who have attacked those innocents in New Orleans, that anyone else that's involved be brought to justice. So even as we're celebrating, my heart was very heavy yesterday, and so I really wasn't sure how to respond. So I just posted today that our Leonard Bernstein quote, which I've always used anytime tragedies arise, I go back to this quote, and I used to think it was very kind of cliche, and now I realize, no, it's because it's truth. And it's a quote from Leonard Bernstein that says, our response to violence will be this: to make music more devotedly, more beautifully, more passionately than ever before. That's our response to violence. Our response to violence is not to get sad. Our response to violence as artists and creatives is to spend more time creating beauty, love, and art that will impact the world and bring more of God's beauty to the world and truth to the world. And that's what we do. So whenever I feel I'm not really contributing because I'm talking about art and making businesses when everybody else is struggling and suffering, I realize this is my calling. And so our goal is to help you fulfill yours. A shout out always to 360 Gold. Our chat has been off the chain. We're starting off the new year. It is amazing to see our creatives jumping in and praying together, joining together. If you're interested in that, you should go to godandgigs.com/membership. It is literally what I just mentioned. This way we can talk and be in our own app. You don't have to wait for Facebook or YouTube. We literally talk and we keep it all ad free. It's just us. It's like our little Christian community college, Christian community creative college. And it's all we do is just relax, talk, and share in all of our different circles, including 2 to 3 mastermind level meetings every month. And that's where we grow as creators. Accountability, community training, and support is what you get there. The right tools to start the year. I recommended this over and over again. You guys need to be checking out godandgigs.com/toolkit, because this is what will help you have your best year ever, because you have the right tools. And some of these offers are annual. They offer you annual things like this: ManyChat, Kit, Senja, Skip, we just mentioned, StreamYard, Mighty Networks, Buy Me a Coffee. I don't think I have a link for Buy Me a Coffee, but I'm using Buy Me a Coffee in one of my podcasts, and we have gotten over almost $500 in support over the last 2 months. And that's including monthly subscriptions. And people are just willing to support, and you'd be surprised. Or if you want to do something that's Mighty Networks is a little bit more robust, I use Mighty for like two communities. I use a free version and I have a paid version. So any of those, you can find all of those at godandgeeks.com/toolkit, and start this year with the right tools. You can try the trial out. You try the free versions, and then if they work out, go ahead and purchase, because that will keep you going the rest of the year, and it really helps you get momentum. We mentioned Skip. I mentioned this earlier. Manuel and I are jumping in, applying for grants. This is really a way to get your year started, well as to see what's available for you. And our upcoming events, as you can see, we're now in the Best Creative Year Ever. You have our Your Art God's Heart devotional starting up on next Friday, which will be our 21 days of reading together, the devotional. You can get that at yourartgodsheart.com. Where is that? Where is it? I had it. There it is. So you can get that at yourartgodsheart.com. You can get that devotional, and you can start reading with us 21 days, and we will be doing emails. We won't do live videos, but we will do emails, and we will help you stay focused. And in our groups, we will be discussing each day's topic, and we'll see. Oh yeah, and we will have a party at the end for all those who make it all 21 days. So if you register, actually, I do have a place where you can register to get the emails. And once again, I forgot. I'm going to put it in the chat. Let me think. It is, yikes, I forgot. God and Gigs. Geez, you guys help me out with these things. I always forget these things. Your Art, God's Heart, YAGH 2025. That is it. So you can go there and register. You don't have to register, but if you want to get the daily emails and the reminders, you want to register. So go to godandgeeks.com/YAGH 2025, Your Art, God's Heart 2025. And you can register to get the emails that will remind you each day, hey, read your devotional. Hey, stay focused. Check in. Let us know that you read your devotional so that we can keep you on the challenge all 21 days. And you can, and those who are, checked off, and you checked off every single box and you followed through and you did all 21 days, you'll be invited to the party where we'll do kind of like a celebration for those of you who will follow through. Our monthly mastermind meetup, the first one will be Monday, January 13th. And our PodFest conference in Orlando, Florida is January 16th to 19th. You can still register for that if you want to join us over there in Orlando. All right, and our most recent episode, godandgeeks.com/316. Basically, I took all of these and I compounded them into one episode, 15 minutes, kind of like the clip notes of this whole series. So you can go check that out at godandgeeks.com/316. All right, we're now ready to talk about today's best year ever pillar, and that is gaining complete clarity on your creative calling. And why is this so important? Manuel, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as we go. If you're watching live and you cannot comment, please come back later. Send your comments in. Email me at alan@godandgeeks.com. I do not want this to be I don't want this to be a monologue. I really want this to be a dialogue where we are all discussing this together. And so I don't want this to be where you are just waiting for me to give you your ideas about clarity. I want to know, first of all, if you have started this year, do you feel like you have clarity on your creative calling? Because maybe this is something I really struggle with this as I even started to map out what does a creator's best year ever look like. Because it felt strange to say by month 8, you should have complete clarity on your calling. I thought maybe that should have been month number 1 or month number 2. But as I started to map it out and I realized that it was falling further and further down the calendar, I said, well, maybe that's a bad example, because now I'm saying, oh, well, you can go through 8 months of the year and not have clarity on your calling, and that could be bad. But here's where I realize that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you were to go through 8 months of the year and not have clarity on your calling, that would be, not great. But if you had all of the parts in place where you had spiritual alignment, which we talked about on Monday, and then you had vision, which you had a vision for your creative calling on February, and then you had your community behind you, and then you had your monetization strategies and time management strategies, which we talked about day 4 and 5. And then on day 6, you had your, wait, I want to remember, day 6 was, we did monetization, time management, and then it was building up your skill. Okay. Day 7 was building up your skill. All right. So if you were all the way through that, and then you got to month 8 and you said, okay, I've got all these pieces in place. How can I be sure that I'm nailing the thing that God has called me to do with all of these tools? What I find oftentimes is that people feel like they have to have everything exactly right in their creative calling before they start to build around the gifts and the things that they have. And so they wait for this moment of God's perfection. They wait for, tell me if this is you, if this has ever happened to you, Manuel, anybody else watching live. Have you ever felt like you had to wait for God to kind of like give you this green light, this angel singing, this ultimate perfect picture of your calling before you move forward? Has anyone else dealt with that? Because if you have, that is where I feel many of us get caught up in perfectionism and waiting for like this perfect moment before we get started. And this is why I think it's okay and actually beneficial that I saved clarity for month 8, for August, essentially, when we go through this as a team, as a community. Let me see. For me, November 2020, I began to ask the Lord for 2025. Got it down for 2025. Praise the Lord. I love this. So you're saying for clarity, you started to pray in November. I love this, brother. This is exactly why you are a great example of what we're looking for to help people do in 2025, because you sat down before the year was over and you asked God, what is the calling and the clarity that you want me to kind of focus on? Where am I looking at? Am I super clear on what I'm trying to achieve in terms of what I do, how I do it? And you did that. And now you have it down for 2025. So you can move through the entire year without this kind of question mark. I love this, Manuel. Well, here's the thing. Some people have that and some people don't. I want to kind of give you grace. Those of you who are watching either now or live stream or on replay, I want to give you the grace. Remember, there's no condemnation for them that love Christ Jesus. So we're talking to all of our faith-focused Christian creatives here. You do not have to feel like you have to have the perfect calling in place to move forward. Faith is the size of a mustard seed. And so the clarity of your calling, this could be for those of you who are serving in a local church, but you're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this professionally. I feel like I don't know if I'm supposed to do this for my entire life. I don't know if this is supposed to be my profession. I don't know if I'm supposed to earn money doing this. I feel weird even thinking about being a professional in this particular area. I feel like God just wants me to do it as a hobby or as a ministry, but to do it as a profession feels very strange. So maybe you don't have clarity. Maybe you are in a professional position of a 9 to 5 where it has nothing to do with your creative. And then the side hustle, or even not even a side hustle, just a hobby has been, I sing, I dance, I draw, I design. You've been doing it as a side hustle and you're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this really more fully. I don't know if I'm supposed to integrate this into my creative life, into my life, and especially not into a business. I don't even know if that's really where I'm supposed to be. So you might be at this point in the year, 2025 has started, you got 2 days in, and you don't have clarity on your calling. It really doesn't matter when this happens. What matters is that you're in the process of discovering the clarity that you need. So I love what you just said, Manuel. Find a partner, someone that can get feedback about your thoughts. This is literally what I was about to say. You're right ahead of me in terms of our mindset. The first step in getting clarity is truly to get that moment of quiet and reflection, to think about where you have been, who you have been serving, who is in your community, and how can God use you to meet those needs, to find those people that you can serve, that you can create for, and find out, oftentimes, let them reflect back to you what you're good at. So many of us get so caught up in, well, I don't know if I'm good enough to be this. I don't know if God has blessed me to be this. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy because we refuse to let the evidence of, hey, people like what you do. They like when you sing. They like when you draw. They have actually asked you, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, I love when you do this. And we are so quick to judge ourselves and to do the comparison that the clarity of our calling actually is masked by our own self-doubt. And the Bible was very clear. And now I said this to myself even this morning as I was doing my workout. And I was thinking about First John, one of my theme verses, First John, I want to say it's 4:13. I might have reversed it. I want to make sure I get it right. So I might need to look it up in my own Bible. But is where the Bible says that perfect love casts out all fear, for there's fear and torment. He who fears is not made perfect in love. Why am I quoting that scripture? Because if you love someone, if you love to share and you want to serve someone, if you love them, you can't do it out of the spirit of fear. You have to do it out of the spirit of being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to be out there, to be willing to be wrong. I'm starting to read a book right now. I just started it, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. She's a social scientist, and she's been viral for years and done amazing, TED Talks and stuff like that. So this is not necessarily a faith book, but it is clearly something that talks about emotional stability and integrity. And she talks a lot about vulnerability. And I thought about that scripture where it says fear has torment. If you have fear in the way that you share and you feel like that is blurring your vision, you need to kind of step back and say, wait, what is the clear evidence from others around me versus my own self-judgment? Who has spoken into my life? Who has been willing to share, hey, I think you could do this? Not the negative voices, not the negative people that are just like throwing stuff at you. And by the way, not the positive people who really aren't invested, who just say, oh, go do it, but then they don't support you. I'm talking about people who have real investment and real relationship with you, which is why, Manuel, the statement was so good. That's what we try to create in God and Gigs, is real partnership, real relationship, where people can be honest, say, hey, I think you should move in this direction, and here's why, because I see what you're capable of. We have trouble with our clarity because we can't see inside of the bottle. But other people can see outside of the bottle. They can see what we have, and they can be honest with us. So that is a huge part of getting complete clarity. Another part of complete clarity is not just doing where people, not just hearing from others, but also collecting the data from your own life. When was it that you felt most fulfilled? When was it that you felt the most joy? God gives us the desires of our hearts. He gives us the desires. So when was it that you felt that aliveness? When was it that you felt so like, this is great? I have complete understanding that I am in the zone. I'm in my element. Where was that spot? Because wherever that spot was, and by the way, I'm sitting here holding this book, which we didn't give one away yesterday, Master of One. I always promote Jordan Rayner's books at the beginning of the year because they're just such a great resource. And if you haven't read Master of One, this is really connected to clarity in your calling. So we may give this away to somebody today who is live watching. I think that's going to be our qualifier. Whoever's watching live, we will get them a copy of this book. And so what I want to do is really share the idea behind Master of One and why it's so important that you dig into what made you alive. We do this also in our Consistent Creative Challenge, which we do every year. What was the thing when you were a little boy, a little girl, that you just love to do, that it just lit you up inside. That's evidence of your calling. That's evidence of a place where your skill and your joy, all of these things meet. And you not only serve yourself, but you serve somebody else, and you serve a mission, and you serve a purpose that's bigger than you. And that's why I've been able to stick with God and Gigs. God and Gigs has not been the most lucrative. Now it has been, it has created for me a life where I serve my purpose. But the individual thing was not like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money doing podcasts or creating a book. It was a pathway through what I enjoy the most, which is sharing, teaching, talking about creative life. Yes, Manuel, exactly. Your happy place. This is exactly what we're talking about. It is a place where those things intersect, where God gives us the desires of our heart. And it is a place where you can serve God and serve people with equal, right? Love God as you love yourself, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Those things are equal. If God didn't want us to love ourselves, he wouldn't have added that part into that commandment, but he did. So there is equal parts. How am I serving others? What is it clear that I am good at? What is it clear that I serve others, that they enjoy what I do? And where is that joy also clear in me? Now, here's the third one, which is probably a little less fun to talk about. Is there evidence in terms of not just people liking it, not just people saying encouraging it, but also people actually buying in to your service, to your gift, to your calling? And this is where the rubber meets the road. Are people willing to spend money? Because oftentimes we think our calling has to be something that we just enjoy. But if you want it to be your vocation and your profession and your business, it also has to have financial legs. It has to have some kind of thing where people are like, okay, not only is it cool, not only are you good at it, but there's also something where you can actually use it to generate income. This is more on the business side, but it's also a key indicator that this could be part of your calling, your vocation, your profession, because now you have people who are actually putting skin in the game, and they're actually selling or buying it, and you can actually say, hey, wait a minute. This is not just something that I'd like to do. This is something where people are actually spending money. And you go ahead and you create the thing, and you say, wow, like I had no idea that people would actually buy this stuff. And they are. This is why you need to have something called a minimum viable product. You need to have something that you go ahead and make it, and you say, hey, let's just see what happens. Let's just go ahead and buy this, or let's sell it and see what happens. And that kind of like indicator, that kind of, whoa, wait, I didn't expect anybody to buy this, and they did. I didn't expect anybody to show up for this, and they did, and they spent money. That is another key indicator that you might be right in the side of your calling, where your intersection of what you do, what you love to do, and serving a community that's willing to invest in it, those all connect. So this is where I really hope that this message is ringing in your mind, that is not just about, internal, oh, I just love to do this, that's my calling. Nope. There's got to be some spiritual, emotional, and physical alignment when you're reaching your calling, clarity on your calling. And by the way, calling is literally, for me, it is a spoken vocation. God talks about this being called out. You are called to do something. This does not always need to be monetized, by the way. But as I just mentioned, people being willing to invest in you is evidence that this could be your calling, that you could be called to do something because people are willing to invest in it. And that does not even mean necessarily spending money in terms of creating like a for-profit business. This could be people investing in your ministry. This could be people investing in you. This could be a sign that, hey, you should be doing more nonprofit work. You should be building your ministry. People are willing to invest in it, but you have to put it out there first to see where it will go from there. And again, that's why I love this book, because it talks about taking small bets, making small bets on yourself, making small investments, trying things out, being willing to push it a little bit. Say, hey, am I getting feedback? If I'm not getting feedback, can I try again? Am I willing to try it a few more times? So that you're not kind of going back and forth with, oh, it didn't work. I sent out a post, nobody liked it. All right, guess that's not my calling. That's not how this works. You have to give it a real honest effort. And if God has called you to it, it will most likely take a few more seeds before you see the harvest. But Galatians 6 says that be not weary in well doing. So if you're doing well and you're really following through with a community like God and Gigs, where you have people who are looking at it and they're saying, hey, you've got something here. Don't quit. Don't give up. Stay with it. It may not be as big as Amazon. It may not be as big as something else that someone else has done, but it will be something that will bless you. You got to have that core community that will help you stay focused until you see the true path of your calling, where your passions, your purpose, and yes, even there's a profit involved in that where people are willing to invest in your gift. So I hope this has helped. I am already kind of feeling like, man, this is a deep subject that we could spend months and weeks on. But it is part of the best year ever to have that complete clarity of your calling. I'm going to pull this up because every time I do it, I feel like I give you guys a little more of a sense of how I actually think, which might be scary, but this might be helpful for everyone. As we did this in the in the episode 316, I walked you through what does it really feel like when you have this clarity. And so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to actually find this page and I'm going to go ahead and bring it up and share the screen. And let's go to the brain. And I like to share this every once in a while just so you guys can see where my brain is. And here's where we get down. Month 6 was branding and messaging. I almost forgot that earlier. So imagine that this is the way you feel at the end of the year. Let's get it a little bigger so you guys can see it a little better. And make sure you can see it. Yeah, let's make it bigger here as well. Other one. So imagine this is the way you felt after 8 months. I know that this is what I'm meant to do. After years of questioning whether your creativity could truly matter, you finally connected your talents with a higher purpose. You wake up with a renewed sense of hope, knowing your work isn't just a hobby, it's a calling. Imagine feeling that. Imagine feeling that every day that you wake up. As a matter of fact, I want to go into this because this is a little thing that I share about your best day ever, which would be part of your best year ever. So let's look at the afternoon. Kim, just imagine this being your best day ever after you got your clarity on your calling. And I'll be very straight up with you guys. I used ChatGPT to help me do this, but it nailed so much of what a great day of a creative would look like. I could not share it because, I guess I had been doing a lot of training on my own ChatGPT where this was like spot on. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to share it and tell y'all what this feels like. So imagine this being your best day ever of your best year ever when you have complete creative clarity. 1 p.m. after a healthy lunch, let's put you dive into your business tasks, checking on sales, reviewing your invoices, or planning your marketing strategies. You're no longer overwhelmed by administrative work because you've streamlined your systems and you have a better understanding of monetizing your creative talents. At 3 p.m., you hop on a sales call with a collaborator or a client. You've built a network of like-minded creatives and mentors who support each other. Collaborative projects now come easily, and you feel confident in negotiating deals. Now, this goes a lot into the monetization part. Let me put this out so I can actually make sure I get it. Negotiating deals and setting boundaries that align with your faith and your values. At 4 p.m., oh, I love this. You set aside an hour to engage in learning, whether that's taking an online course, reading, or practicing your craft. Growth is ongoing, and you're always looking for ways to level up your skills. That goes back to month 7. So see how this fits together? If your best day ever fits your best year ever, every day you're feeling something in the clarity of your calling. You're enjoying knowing that this is what you're meant to do. So you don't have this kind of, what's the word? You don't have this, help me out. Not dysfunction. You don't have this conflict. You don't have this disconnect. That's the word I'm looking for. You don't have this disconnect between your calling and what you do day to day. And I think that's probably what a lot of us feel oftentimes. We a lot of times feel this disconnect between I do this during the day and I'm following all these things, but does it really connect with my calling? Is this just busy work? Is this just what everybody else does? Does this really, like, is my day really reflect my values, what I do day to day? Because, yeah, cluttered mind, is a great way to put it. Yes. If your mind is cluttered and you're just got a million things going on and none of them seem to deal with the thing that you actually do, your days can get very stagnant. This is where I think people get burned out because what they do during the day does not reflect their calling and doesn't really connect the dots with what they really feel is important. So if you spend your entire day, your entire year, your entire month just doing stuff that doesn't feel connected to your calling, yeah, this is important. I'm glad we hit on this. This is where burnout, I think, comes out because your daily tasks need to be connected to your calling. It is what re-energizes you day to day and week to week and month to month. And so, and I love the fact that, again, this will not necessarily be something we're going to talk about only in month one in January, because I think revisiting this in the middle of the year can get you back into a flow when maybe between the middle of the year, like half the year's gone, you could get like really stagnant and you could feel like you're not really going where you thought you wanted to go. So that is actually, to me, a very, very, very good situation. Appreciate that, Manuel. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Every time I do this, I'm like, whoa, this is all like, I cannot really explain how much clarity I'm getting. It's funny, like as I'm talking, I'm getting clarity because the only way I can stay clear is by exercising this kind of discussion, of having these conversations. These conversations, doing 8 straight live streams now, has made me ultra clear on my calling, ultra clear on what I need to do this year, ultra clear. The more I talk about it, the more I share it, the clearer I get, the less confusion I have, the less, oh, well, should I do this? And it's like, no, yeah, like, duh, like this is what I should be doing. Like I should be building up my community, being focused on what I'm going to sell, what I'm going to share, how I'm going to serve. Let me get focused and clear on that, because each day is going to look more and more like my best year ever. Every single day is going to look more and more like the way it's intended. I'm not going to be confused. I'm not going to be frustrated. I'm not going to want to give up every day. I'm not going to want, because it's like, this is it. Bam, 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 bam. If it doesn't work out, cool. I will still stick with the plan because I have a plan for the year. And with that, let me tell you, if you want to get all of the things I've been talking about, all 12, because I realize that I have talked about a whole bunch of stuff. So if you want to get all 12 of these in a guide, I said to myself last night, I'm gonna be straight up with y'all, I didn't sleep very much because I was like my brain was flying. So I said, can we have a guide that will give you all 12 months of this set up so you could just follow it along? Now, obviously, I prefer you guys do this inside of God and Gigs 360, our membership and our app. But even if you don't join, I wanted to give you a free guide that will give you absolutely clear steps, action steps, activities, benefits, focus. Focus on this, do this, and this will be the result. Focus on this on January, do this, this will be the result. And these things will get you to your best year ever. If you want that, go to godandgigs.com/best2025. godandgigs.com/best2025. That's all together. You can get a copy of the guide that I just created that has all 12 themes listed directly for you. I wanted to make sure you had that. So glad you appreciate that, Manuel. I hope you'll go grab that, especially those of you who are already in God and Gigs in our membership And even if you're actually now a membership in our community, and you're not part of the newsletter, this will get you into the newsletter as well, so that you get both the guide and now you'll be part of the Creators Checkup newsletter. So you're just getting all of the resources you need to have your best year ever. Like, you can see that this is exactly why I'm sticking with this, and why I'm so glad even our friends at Mighty Networks really this is the genesis. All of it came from Mighty Networks and me studying what they've been doing. And I said, this is what God and Gigs needs to do, because we want you to have your best year ever. And if you have your best year ever, then you will make it God and Gigs' best year ever, because this is collaborative. Okay, we grow as you grow. I grow as you grow. And as you're watching this on replay, you're probably like, well, man, like, it's okay. As I'm not stressing it. I'm not stressing that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, because I know we're blessing the people who I'm called to reach. So my calling is right now for you who are watching. I'm good. I have my church community. I have my music community. I have this community. Not everybody has to be on every live stream for me to know I'm fulfilling my calling, and I'm not worried about numbers. Now, if God sends the numbers, great, but I'm not concerned. This is going to bless the people who are called to be blessed, who are high character creatives with deep convictions, who want to transition from having a piecemeal kind of haphazard part-time hustle kind of life to a integrated creative lifestyle that is fulfilling, and where they are doing what God called them to do to become the creative that they are created to be. That's what I'm doing. So if you are part of that circle, I want you to get this so that you can have the guide. Even if you join God and Gigs 360 Gold, you want to have this guide. Now, if you join God and Gigs 360 Gold, you'll get all of this, plus the accountability, plus the 3 days, 4 days, a month of accountability sessions where we actually walk you through this and we help you every step of the way. So, of course, I hope you'll join us in Gold. But even if you don't, this resource is here for you. Awesome. Glad that you got it, Manuel. And there's many other ones that are probably watching. I know Pamela, you just got back off of vacation. So Pamela, shout out to you and everybody else that's in God and Gigs 360. This is for you as well. I will probably put this in the resources. Well, I don't know. I literally don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. All right. I did not do the giveaway. So let's get to the giveaway. And Manuel, I'm trying to remember, since you are our live viewer, I'm trying to remember if you got this book. I think you were on with us. I'm trying to remember. I need to write a list of the winners. We had Wilfredo, who won the $20 gift card. He won the $20 gift card and the Your Art God's Heart. Then we had not Joseph. We had Pastor Fury, who won the copy of, I need my pen. Where's my pen so I can write this down? Oh, well, I guess I'll type it. So we had 3 or 4 winners. Okay, so you don't have this. So, all right, well, I want you to have this. So if you will, because you are the winner for the day, because you are the live viewer. So if you would like a copy of Master of One, whoops, go back. If you would like a copy of Master of One, I would love for you to have this, because this is all about your creative calling and how Jesus really encourages us to be a master of one thing. And I was going to give it away yesterday. Oh, it's Redeeming Your Time. So Redeeming Your Time is, I got to remember who won each one. Jesus, I got to go back and make sure I don't lose it. And I'm nervous because I feel like I'm going to forget somebody's gift. Hold on. I want to write this down. Like, I don't like typing it. I am very much a write it down person. So I'm literally going to do this. Okay, so Manuel, because I don't want anybody to not get their gift. So Manuel is Master of One. So what you need to do, Manuel, is email me at allen@godandgigs.com. Just Allen, ALLEN, at godandgigs.com, and just send me your address. Manuel is Master of One. Wilfredo won he won the Your Art God's Heart, but I will see him at Podfest, so I can actually give it to him directly. And the Amazon card, we have Pastor Fury, and I believe, yes, Pastor Fury. That was Pastor Fury. I remember. And I think it was redeeming the time. Yeah, he's the one that won redeeming the time, right? I did not give away. There was another one that I was going to give away, but I don't think I did. Okay, so those are the three winners so far. I feel like Pamela was in here, and Pamela, I don't know if you're watching later, you need to let me know because I feel like you were going to apply to one of these, and I didn't get it to you. But yeah, so far we have three winners. Oh, and now man, we added Manuel. Yes, so it's three. Okay, awesome. So very very happy to get that to you, man. So yeah, just email me your address. I will be getting these in the mail this weekend. I would love for you to start the year with these kind of reminders, and you're an author as well, so you know I'm trying right now just to get back into my reading. That's why I'm starting with the Brene Brown. I'm going to be reading some J.K. I can't say his name. G.K. Chesterton. I'm going to be reading some Chesterton again because I have not read some of his works in a while, and I want to get back into my reading. So I'm getting into my reading habit. We're thinking about doing a book club in God and Gigs 360. So that would be awesome. All right, now let me quickly do these prescriptions, but these prescriptions have kind of changed. So I am still offering the one-on-one coaching, but unfortunately, I am no longer offering the. Let's get rid of all these banners. There's so many things in the way. I am no longer offering the $3 off early booking because that was for January 1st, and that no longer exists. But you can still get private coaching with me. If you want to go to alancepaul.com/private coaching, I'm still offering it, but the spaces are limited. And as I mentioned yesterday, there's not a lot of time that I can spend for private coaching anymore. So that is no longer necessarily something I can really offer to for any kind of discount because my time is getting more and more caught up, and I want to make sure I serve those who I promised to serve with my full attention. And so that means that the times are going to get more and more harder to find to make sure I'm spending time with everyone. Always, please share the podcast, follow the podcast, godandgigs.com/podcast. And if you want to register for PodFest, you can go to podfestexpo.com. I'll be speaking on Thursday about how to do less work when you're doing two different kinds of podcasts, video and audio. Getting a lot of feedback on that. I currently run 4 podcasts. I am thinking about doing a 5th. My wife and I keep arguing back and forth about how many podcasts can I survive, but she wants to do one, so I'm thinking about doing that. Let me head real quick back to... I'm not even sure where I want to get back to. Let's go ahead and really quick. If you want to download the best guide, okay? So how to have your best year ever. This is the major thing that I want you guys all to get. So again, if you're watching on replay, this is the guide for all 12 months. If you are in God and Gigs 360 Gold, this is literally what we'll be doing. So you're going to get like basically a syllabus of the entire year. But this is even if you never join God and Gigs 360, you still get basically a guideline to all the activities you should do to have your best creative year ever. By the way, this is including if you are musical, if you are in business, if you are creating an entrepreneurial venture. This is not just for performing artists. We serve people who are both creatives who are creating businesses, and we serve people who are in business who need more creative inspiration. So many of our followers and people are not performing artists, but they are actually people who are building companies, building their new creative platform, and they just need that assistance from people who think like creatives and think like artists, because a lot of times the corporate world kind of steals that side of their brain. So we also help, by the way, those of you who are not considering yourselves artists, this is for you too, because everyone now is a content creator. Everyone really has to be someone who has the ability to express themselves in a creative way to kind of give them that voice, that space, that ability to connect with people. So this is not just for you if you think, oh, well, I'm not an artist, I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer. you need something like this to help you guide you to your best creative year ever. Because, as I just mentioned, no matter what you're building, you're going to need that kind of focus, that kind of intentionality, that spiritual alignment, all 12 themes throughout the year. And so, once again, your course, you're invited to join Guided Geeks Gold, but get this guide even if you are not necessarily going to be a part of our creative community each month. All right, my friends, I think that's it. If there's any other questions, please leave it in the chat. I don't know if we had anybody who joined us from from LinkedIn. We went live on LinkedIn, which was awesome. But if you are watching on LinkedIn and you got something out of this, please share it. I would love to know that LinkedIn is working. We decided to go from LinkedIn instead of Instagram because, Instagram is just feels like we're kind of just chasing our tail on Instagram. Like people come in and they comment, or maybe people are missing the Instagram. I don't know. We'll find out. But I wanted to give LinkedIn a try instead of LinkedIn as a new thing for 2025. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, give me a comment, send me a message, let me know you saw this, so I know that this is actually helping you there as well. But with that, I think we will go ahead and sign off for today. We've got an amazing day 9 coming up, and I can show you what day 9 will be since I have this here. And let's go back from the day 9. I love the fact that I can use my brain, my literal brain here. And day 9 will be networking and collaboration. Okay, so we're going to talk about how you build your network. How do you collaborate? How do you build those partnerships that will make it your best year ever? That's tomorrow, so I hope you'll join us. If you're watching on replay, again, this is your chance to kind of, catch up. If you haven't been haven't caught all the lives, go ahead and catch up. You don't have to watch every single minute of every single one, but obviously we have a lot of material. This is going to be 12 hours worth of material that I've shared, so definitely don't want you to miss out on anything. But without anything else to share, guys, have an amazing Thursday. Thank you for joining me, and continue to become the creator that you were created to be. God bless, and we will see you tomorrow as we continue our best year ever. God bless. See you 1 o'clock Eastern.